Hi, it's been a while since the last time that we had a conversation around the beautiful game. The World Cup has been on. A lot of scintillating football has been played. Sometimes the football has not really been as great or so pleasing to the eye. But I think when you want to look at the educational side, or the learning side of the game, there've been a lot of lessons that we could pick from the World Cup. And so, looking at the two match days that had been played, and also the match day 3 that started yesterday, there are some trends or themes that I think are common, which we could look at that are present at this World Cup. And so I thought we could just look at the 5 that come to mind at this stage from the matches that I've had the chance to watch and that I believe you've also had a chance to watch. The first thing that comes to mind for me is that there've been a lot of adaptive tactics. We've seen a lot of teams adjusting their tactics to mirror what their opposition is doing, or to try and counter what the opposition is doing. In times before, you saw teams going into the World Cup and basically sticking to their guns, but I think there's been a lot of adaptive tactics that teams have observed. One of the matches that comes to mind is the Japan 2, Germany 1 match. Japan started initially with the 4-4-2. Germany were playing with the 4-3-3. It became very difficult for Japan to contain Germany, especially in the first half, because Germany always had an extra man in that midfield. But I think they managed to find a way in the second half. They changed it to what looked like a 3 in the middle, at times a 4 in the middle, and I think they managed to deal with the extra man that Germany offered. And later on, they actually managed to tilt the match into their favor, the Japanese. And so that was, I think, one match where also adaptive tactics. The other one could be the Holland versus Senegal game. I think Senegal matched Holland pretty much for the better part of the match, until later in the match when they decided to change and maybe wanting to go for it more, when they decided to go with 2 at the top. And I think that altered the dynamics in the midfield, gave the Dutch an extra man in the midfield, and they were punished for that. So basically, you saw the adaptive tactics, from Japan, from Senegal, and a few others that have managed to match what we call are the bigger teams. On the other side, I think the other theme has been, there's been a lot of good counter pressing from what teams. But what is more important this time around, or what is more clear this time around, is that there's been a lot of swarming as the counter pressing is being done. Usually when counter press is being done, you already realize that it's just one player that loses the ball and makes the immediate press. But now you see maybe 2, 3, 4 players going in to try and win the ball as quickly as possible as it is lost. So there've been a lot of huge numbers as far as the counter pressing is concerned. Number 3, I think we'd look at the dodge to beat the press. The dodge is basically your long ball from the back, up to maybe up to the top, maybe trying to go and contest the second ball. Why has there been an increase in the dodge? I think one of the reasons is because people are trying to to avoid the high press, because it's been observed that when the high press is effected quite positively, you get a lot of goals from there. And so trying to work against those are pressing very high, there's been that long dodge from the back. The other thing that does is that it gives you an opportunity to get into the opposition box as soon as possible, or what you call the position of maximum opportunity. And also, I think it basically allows teams to play quickly from the back to the front. And I think we've seen that theme for a lot of teams. Even Spain at times have got to go the long way. We've seen that from Senegal from the back. We've seen that from the Dutch. We've seen that from Brazil, basically trying to beat the high press. Number 4, I think we've seen a lot of goals this time around scored from crosses, or teams have basically gone the traditional way in terms of playing through the wings and whipping in the crosses, and a lot of goals have come from there. I think from my count we've had about 18, if not 19 goals scored from that. A very good example is the Ghana versus Korean match. Basically all goals in that match came from crosses, came from whips into the box. That was like 5 out of 5. We look at the Cameroon versus Serbia match, of those 6 goals that were scored, I think about 3 or 4 of those goals came from crosses, and it's been a theme that has been common. Look at the England match last night. The second goal was scored from a ball whipped in from the wide areas, and so there's been that theme also in this World Cup. Number 5, I think there's been teams have become carefree in terms of their tactics. In the years back, you saw a lot of, especially the African teams or the lesser teams, be very risk averse in the way that they approached matches, but it's not the case anymore. Teams are able to go out there and express themselves. Look at how Saudi Arabia approached their match against the Argentines. While they pressed high, while they sat at times, but they still gave their best that they could going forward. They were still expressive. You could still say the same about most of the African teams. Look at how Morocco have performed so far. Look at how Senegal have gone about their business. And so you've seen this theme from what you would call previously as the lesser sides against the top sides. They've wanted to go risk-free, and I think it's good for football. And maybe not one of the top ones for now, but something I've seen developing now is that there's been we're seeing patterns where there's been a variation in terms of the theme as far as set pieces are concerned and corners. You're not seeing mostly the direct free kicks, you're not seeing mostly the direct corners, but there's been short corners and a few variations around how the set pieces are taken to try and change the dynamics, and also maybe have better influence on the second or third angle of play as you would like. And so those are the 5 things primarily that I thought we'd look at today. The themes that I've developed from this World Cup: you've seen a lot of adaptive tactics, you've seen a lot of counter pressing, there's been a lot of dodging, the dodgeball to try and prevent the press. You've seen a lot of traditional play being implemented, as well as teams are carefree in terms of their tactics. Let me know what you think about this content. Let me also know what you've observed from the World Cup, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, thanks for joining me. Bye bye.